Hey folks, Beta here, and today we are taking a look at Transformers Dark of the Moon Human Alliance Sandstorm. Now, Human Alliance Sandstorm is a cute little dune buggy, and he comes with his own little proto G.I. Joe, or Human Alliance figure. We'll talk about Sandstorm in a second. The Human Alliance figures are significantly smaller than the ones we were getting in the Revenge of the Fallen line. However, the articulation remains the same. Head is on a swivel. The arms have a little bit of have some articulation in them, no elbow articulation. Legs are on that weird swivel joint again, and they can bend at the knees, and that's about it. This guy, I swear, this guy looks like Duke, or a very old version of Duke from G.I. Joe. I just think that's what he looks like, but his eyes, I don't know if you can see it there, but his eyes are just black. They're just black dots painted on a very badly molded human face. Anyway, we don't need to worry about him. Let's go ahead and take a look at Sandstorm proper. Sandstorm and all the Human Alliance figures have clip-on guns, and this is something that I really like, and we started to see in the Hunt for the Decepticons. But I really enjoy the fact that they've got these clip-on guns that you can just clip them off and put them anywhere. I really do dig that. So I started him out in buggy mode, and I'll show you the transformation from buggy mode, and then we'll go to his weapon mode. And actually, we'll go from buggy mode to his robot mode, and then we'll show you his weapon mode later. So buggy mode transformation is pretty complex, actually, given the size of this figure. This is somewhere between a deluxe and a scout class figure. So first off, we're going to disconnect the roll bar, and then you just kind of move that up and out of the way. And then we got to come back around here and swivel this. This is the handle in gun mode. So take that and flip that all the way around like that. Next, we'll come in here and unpeg the lower roll bar, which will allow us to bring the front of the buggy down. We'll take that part that we brought down and swivel it 180 degrees and fold it out. And fold out some feet. Next, we will take the rear wheels and actually unpeg the section that is holding the rear wheels on, and swivel that completely around, and then unfold the robot arms. So again, swivel that around up into the shoulders, and unfold the robot arms. And then collapse the seat into the robot chest. And there's nothing really to see there. And then fold up the roll bar. And then drop the original roll bar straight back and leave it there. Now, in actuality, you can just leave this up like that. It doesn't really matter. Alright, so here we have him in robot mode. His gun can be held like that, or you can attach it to these 2 points here. I just like him to hold it. And Sandstorm is really freaking awesome. I really, really like this guy. In the robot mode, he just looks really cool. He really, really looks the part of a dune buggy vehicle. And he just really, he does not have the Bayformer aesthetic. It's really odd. It's more of a traditional Transformers mold. Not a mold, but it just has a more of a robots in disguise feel than a Transformers movie feel, and I really appreciate that. This figure is just really, really cool and very good looking. I think my only complaint about him is I don't really care for the head. The head just doesn't go with the rest of the figure. There's no other red anywhere on this figure except for his head. So my thinking is that they had a different head planned, and then they just ended up with this head, but oh well, no biggie. It's not that really big of a deal. Posability-wise, he is got plenty of posability, except for his head. His head is on a very, very limited ball joint. and can do side to side. Arms, ball joint in the shoulders, ball joint in the elbow, ball joint at the wrist. Legs, ball joint at the hip, swivel joint for 90 degrees worth of swiveling at the knee, ball joint in the ankle, and you could get a lot of posability out of this guy. I mean, you could do a lot with him. Unfortunately, I'm not that creative. So, he can't really do anything with his human buddy here, but, don't care. So, he does have a weapons mode, and we will get into that right now. So to get him into his weapons mode, we're going to want to first return him to his dune buggy. And his dune buggy mode, as I showed you earlier, the transformation back to dune buggy mode is just as, it's not simple, it is complex, but it's enjoyable. The only thing you have to worry about is getting these pieces lined up with the correct holes down here. So you just kind of have to play with it a little bit and just get everything lined up. There we go. And that will allow us to bring that over and attach those bits. Now, one thing, if you have this figure, you'll notice that it kind of makes a weird snapping feel once you collapse the arm correctly. Then we'll rotate that all around, and this little peg will peg into that little hole right there. So that's something else I didn't get to mention, is this whole thing is really solid. We are back in dune buggy mode. Now, the first thing we're going to do is rotate that around. The weapons mode is interesting, so we will show that to you now. So rotate that up and get that out of the way and expose all the missiles underneath. Then unpeg the two roll bars and rotate them forward. Next, we will want to take the entire front and fold it down, just like that. And then we'll turn it around and rotate the entire thing back like that. We'll split this out a little bit so that we can come and kind of fold it over like this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take these, what are part of the roll bars. Actually, you don't really need to split it. I don't like doing that. Well, you might. Now what I did was I came in here, and there are pegs and holes, or there are two sets of holes. Now the first set, closest to the inside of the vehicle, these little pegs right here will plug into. You don't have to do this, but I like to, because it just holds everything together, sort of. Especially when you have to line everything up. There we go. Then we will take these bars, rotate them back, and just kind of wiggle everything into place so that these snap in there. Like that. And then we will take these bits and just kind of fiddle with them until we roll them up, and then we peg them in there. So once again, we roll it up. I'm sorry, we peg the tab that's on the gray into this open tab here. Doesn't really work all that well. Then we fold out these controls, and there we have the weapon mode. Now, the human has the little hole in the back where he can peg in to the seat right there. And I have found that these pegs that are supposed to work on the human don't work great. They kind of work. Ah, there. Alright, fine. And then you can just attach the gun anywhere. So, this can be held by a Voyager or larger class figure. Unfortunately, it looks really, really dumb. Because you're basically holding a missile shooting backpack with a human on it. I get they're kind of going for Target Master, but it doesn't really work all that well. So, unfortunately, in this case, this weapons mode is a little bit of a failure. So going from the weapon mode, we'll go back into robot mode, and this is actually very, very easy. It's pretty practically transformed for you already. So just getting back to robot mode. And I won't be displaying him in weapon mode at all, really. I prefer the robot or the dune buggy mode because both of those modes rock. I think both these modes, both the robot and the vehicle mode, are solid. And this is just an overall great figure. If you can get him, he's, I think, about $10. I picked him up at Toys R Us, so yeah, he was definitely $10 at Toys R Us. So this is definitely one to get. If you're looking at the Human Alliance line, definitely get this guy on your list. You're not going to regret it. He is an awesome, awesome figure.